Meeting to order. And if it pleases everyone, you know, I say that and I don't have the agenda open in front of me. That's pretty bad. All right, notice is given that the Brookshire Economic Development Corporation will hold a meeting on Thursday, December 1st, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers of the Brookshire City Hall located at 4029 5th Street, Brookshire, Texas 77423, for the purpose of considering the following items. Agenda item number 1 is the prayer and pledge to the U.S. flag. Is there anyone who would like to give a prayer, or shall we just do the Lord's Prayer? Let's do it. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Prayer to the U.S. flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I saw that. No, just the U.S. flag.
Oh. I fumbled the Texas one anyway. I have to bring a cheat card.
That's kind of why I took it out. It just makes
okay.
life a lot easier.
Gotcha.
Agenda item number 2 is roll call. Ms. Casto, will you perform the roll?
President Jeremiah Hill.
Present.
Vice President Kathy Guy.
Present.
Secretary Mariella Aguilar.
Present.
Director Glenn Mayberry. Director Quotation Stun.
Present.
Director Suzette Baines. Director Amanda Neuendorf.
Present.
You have a quorum, President.
Thank you, Ms. Casto. Agenda item number 3 is public comments. There are none on the sign-up sheet, none in person, so we will move on to agenda item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda item number 5, discussion of possible action approving paying consolidated communications for Hovis Park. Board, as y'all are aware, this is one of those weird issues we faced prior to getting clarity while we have multiple internet channels out there. The EDC board previously paid for this. Just to be real honest, I've sent this to the city. The mayor sent it back to us, so I'm seeking y'all's opinion on whether or not y'all want to pay this or send it back to the city.
I'm confused as to, I guess, if it's reoccurring charges of roughly $172 a month, but the amount due is $981. How long has this been sitting?
That's a credit on this one. This bill date was 11/22.
This is a credit, the nine?
It says amount due is $981.
Right, but if you look at the total, it's 1154.03 minus non-reoccurring prorated charges 157.13 minus taxes and fees of 15.13 is that 172.26 total.
Okay.
So they adjust that off. I'm assuming at this point their services may have been suspended and closed out.
So if it's a credit, then what are we?
Well, this is the past due bill. Because remember there was the issue when we redid our budget and stuff and looking at all this, there was 2 service items out there.
No, yes, I mean, I remember that. I guess I'm just,
We've not paid anything. To my knowledge, Ms. Casto may be able to answer this question.
I'm confused as to why they would have it listed then as a total amount due, and it's saying an amount due. I mean, a lot of other businesses, whenever it's a credit, they will have the credit listed as a negative amount or in parentheses.
Well, no,
So
what
to
I
me, it
meant,
looks like a bill, but
no, correct. The total amount due is the 981.77, but you had mentioned the 172.26
Oh,
being
no.
reoccurring.
no, what I was saying was that if there's a reoccurring charge of 172 and the total amount due is 981, like why has this not been paid in roughly 6 months?
Yep. So it's one of those that when we discovered multiples, we
Right.
kicked it back to the city.
Gotcha.
It's bounced around. Recently, it was bounced back to us and asked us to make a decision on whether or not we're going to pay it or kick it back to the city. So
I mean, I don't like
Doesn't-
the idea of just not paying bills, but this just, I think, is another example of
So who
oversight.
Who has been paying this before it got this?
previously,
been
it
paid.
was,
the-
if you look at the payment history, EDC paid for it a lot of times and the city paid for it sometimes.
That's what I don't understand, why there was such a discrepancy as to when and who. was going to pay, because the calculations, it hasn't been paid in 5 months,
Right.
almost 6 months.
What specifically was this providing service for? at the
Internet
moment?
for Hovis Park.
Just for Hovis Park of $178 a month.
And so we had
72?
But
two
what's in Hovis?
accounts
Didn't
at
we have a
Hovis?
conversation that once we finish the park, then it goes to the city? So it seems to me that any bill after we do our part should go back.
That's why it's on this agenda, so there's formal decisions, not just me saying, here you go, Mayor.
And is this internet only to run the cameras there? Because I thought the cameras were damaged also.
Well, and that's kind of discussion we had previously. There was 2 sets of services going on,
Uh-huh,
consolidated and laptop screen repair.
right, yeah.
According to laptop screen repair, he put his own internet system in, and it was increasing it to meet the needs of the security system that was not functioning. So we asked back, and I don't have the emails in front of me, so I don't want to misquote. We asked for clarification of why this service was still in place back in June.
Mhm.
And that was not given to us by city staff that was responsible for it at the time. So it was allowed to continue for an extended period of time, mainly because we just weren't getting answers from certain staff.
Perfect.
But they do have the bill in economic development's name.
Correct. Well, City of Brookshire care of
Yeah, I was
economic
gonna say
development. So technically, it's in City of Brookshire's name.
I'd say send it back to the city.
I move to deny paying the consolidated bill for
Yes,
Hovis
sir.
Park.
I second, sorry.
No, you're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'll get that over to them. All right. The next agenda item is the Verizon Wireless final bill for the tablets. As y'all know, once again, this is one of those items that we asked for it to be transferred so we can suspend service, blah, 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 blah. Never happened. We have finally gotten the final bill. Supposedly, Verizon has canceled the account, but would not provide me with a confirmation of said cancellation.
I don't understand.
But we're not on the account, so they're not really obligated to give us any besides sending a collection letter wanting their payment.
This for these missing laptops and all that, or no?
The missing tablets, there's probably 4 or 5 of the 13 that have been collected so far.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, Jesus, help us.
Can we file any kind of, I don't even know what can be filed for that. Is there anything that we can file in terms of missing equipment? Would that be considered theft of city property? I mean, a tablet is valued at over $800, so if I'm understanding correctly, anything that's valued at over $800 is considered felony charges, is it not?
I don't know what the limit of that, but I mean, we
I
can
know if you
definitely-
steal more than $800, it's felony charges,
I mean,
cash.
It's city property. when
Okay,
it comes into it. So again, I think we've tried to track those down and
of course, if they're turned off, then we can't track them. I mean, I don't know if do we have a record of serial numbers anywhere?
A quasi list, but there was another set that was purchased later on that the original set, Ms. Casto has those serials. There was another set purchased, and my understanding is you do not have those serials. They were doled out by someone else.
This is ridiculous. People are taking advantage of the city and they're making
Do
a
we
mockery
have
of it and
who
they're
they were
laughing.
assigned to? The person assigned to those, or that was given to them, should be the ones accountable.
The person who was Secretary Claudia Harrison, former secretary.
But there's multiples. So if we have a list of each person,
Hmm. Do we have a list of those?
There's some we don't even know who they were assigned to.
Oh, perfect. Fantastic. And the person who distributed those was former Secretary Harrison.
The second set, to my knowledge.
So is there anything being put in place to prevent these things?
We are working on that. Number one, assets moving forward are going to have to be cataloged.
Okay.
Period. This is just me speaking. I mean, I don't know that any of y'all have had a problem getting y'all's agenda, looking through it without the use of having a tablet supplied by the city. I don't know why we need to do that again. You know, now, I'm open to that discussion and argument.
I'm good with the paper, but
I don't want nothing.
You
my
know.
age. However, even if you ever did do tell, you can put trackers on them. It's such an easy thing to put on there that can't be, I mean, unless you go to a tech guy, and it would take a lot of effort.
No, and I think that's part of the frustration is we've paid a lot of tech guys a lot of money who said that they could do things and benefit for the city. And in reality, what it seems like is favors were done for friends and the mockery is being made of the city. And now here we are with missing equipment, thousands of dollars worth of missing equipment. And it's like there's nothing that we can do, and it's very frustrating for the city. I mean, we have 4 out of 13 that have been recovered. This is ridiculous.
Y'all talking about those tablets?
Yes.
I mean, there's,
Yeah,
other
right.
than,
She
what
is-
can you do?
I don't know that you pay a bill unless you get confirmation that service has been suspended.
And other than an email that he says it has been, and I asked for basically better, and I'll read y'all what was said.
Better than just it has been.
Yeah. You know,
We'll take your word for
Um,
it, sir.
Was this only for the tablets, or did this also include,
This was
were there
on-
air cards as well? Or hotspots?
these were just tablets. So there was an email sent to me on October 28th from a Derek Ardendondo, CC Jason Mann, Enrique Hernandez Jr., that just says, Jeremiah, this account has been canceled. It was canceled back in September. Yeah, and I said, please provide proof of that. And I've received nothing since.
Did these tablets have SIM cards? I would
I
imagine
would
for
have
data.
thought
We don't
too.
know.
I don't know.
Well,
We wanna
I
know.
mean, they
I'm
had a
just saying,
data
'cause-
plan, so if they were Verizon, normally Verizon doesn't have the normal cards like other
Right.
carriers. It's
But
embedded
unless it's an
inside.
Apple card, then it has an embedded SIM card. But if they were Apple tablets that had data on them, they should.
Yeah, I mean, because my tablet, I have a similar
I was gonna
one.
say, I don't
Mine
think
does
They
not
weren't
have a
Apple?
card.
No, they were a Samsung.
Samsung?
A Samsung, were they both? No, Samsung and then a Verizon branded one. So it was like a
Well, then they
Verizon
should
brand
have
of tablet.
cards.
So just going forward, just, don't ever use a physical SIM card, do eSIMs, you can track a device very easily that way. And I'm somehow in the tablet business right now, so that's why I know things I never wanted to know.
Additionally, part of the financial policy moving forward that we're going to be looking at here in the next little bit, there really needs to be multiple people on the accounts.
Exactly.
That would have saved us a lot of headache in this case, where an individual basically said, I'm not
Yep.
Right.
transferring it. So charges continue to accumulate.
Yep.
And devices were still being used during that time period.
Yep.
That could have been turned off and we could have avoided some of these charges.
Devices checked out to that
Um,
individual.
Unfortunately, we can't do anything about that policy. We can do something about it moving forward. And that's what I intend to see us do. With that, the only other thing I will say is this one is actually in the name of the EDC. So,
The Verizon.
Well, I
Verizon.
agree. I think it's something that unfortunately we're obligated to pay and just learn a lesson from. It's not something we could kick back.
yes, ma'am. So if there's no other discussion, I'll take a motion of any sort.
Move to approve paying the Verizon bill.
I second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right.
Begrudgingly.
Yes.
Any opposed? None. All right, agenda item number 7, discussion possible action approving of paying UBO Business Services. I'll give you context on this one, but there is actually at this point no bill for us to pay. This was a printer that was purchased. It was purchased. And there was a rolling cost for printing. And the last bill was $300 or $600, Ms. Casto, which I was not happy about. But the city staff has an issue where one of their printers went down. And so they needed a printer to handle what was done. And so there was a deal brokered somehow by Mr. Rodney or Mr. Barnes, or I'm not sure who all was involved in that. And the city is going to pay this invoice, which is the last invoice, because we do have confirmation this service was canceled. If you'll also remember, that's the printer we approved in the previous block of items to sell.
Okay.
And so once they're done with it, it comes back to us. We'll get it on the market to be out of our hair. But the service rider on it is canceled. So
So
there
we
should
just
be
need to approve paying it because the city's gonna pay the tab?
we
No.
don't need to do anything at this point. It was on the agenda and then this
Gotcha.
happened. So there's no action actually needed on this because we're not paying the bill. The city is taking care of that. All righty. Agenda item number 8, update on projects. On the parks, if you go by Lowenball Park tonight, or tomorrow, you'll see that the first of the signage started going up. And then they'll be moving to Bostic Park to put the signage up there. And then they'll be moving over here to do the signage here. So that's all in process. As far as the parks equipment that we previously approved, that's still, as of the last conversation I had with All Play, potentially as early as February, as late as April, before they start installation. They're still waiting on equipment with some supply chain issues. The amphitheater project is in motion. They've done the engineering. They're pretty much finalized on that. We did a walk last week of the site for electrical services. They're hoping to break ground beginning of January on that project. And so we'll have a discussion on that as far as the groundbreaking on it. The last item I'd like to draw attention to is the Donegan home. As you can see, that is complete over there. In the future, into next year, we'll start discussing other items over there as far as interior. But that is all the updates on those projects. Moving on to agenda item number 9, our Economic Development Coordinator's Report. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barnes and caution y'all, this may be the shortest presentation he's ever given. It was not meant to offend you. It was stating reality.
I've noticed that.
Just two things I'd like to point out. One is the Texas economy continues to boom. And two, the greater Houston economy continues to boom. I don't know.
We don't really want to hear that louder than it is.
I thought it was just for the recording.
I was gonna say for the recording.
I thought it was for the recording. No?
Oh, was it for the recording?
That's, I'm not trying to avoid transparency. I was just.
No, I just, no, I'll defer to Mr. Hill on that decision.
Yeah, if you could put it generally close.
I'll be glad to move up there too.
She's like, what do I do?
I think it was just for the sound for the recording.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to avoid anything.
No, I can bring it to you.
No, it's fine. I'm capable. It's the voice, not the legs. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to.
Notice I said yeah. Thank you. One size fits all, huh? Obviously, the state's economy is booming. Greater Houston economy is booming, and you should take great pride in the fact that Brookshire continues to, if not lead, is among the surgers, if you will, in the greater Houston economy. I've confirmed to you, I think I referenced it in a previous meeting. I can confirm now that of the second phase of Empire West, there is an additional 1.3 million square feet that's been leased. I believe both of those tenants have been named in a public venue. So I will name them. One is Tesla, and the second one is HEB. Tesla is taking 1 million square feet, and HEB is will be occupying 300,000 square feet. As of this point, take this off the recording. Neither of those tenants have approached us for incentives, oddly enough.
If I could add real fast, I was on a Zoom meeting yesterday with Tesla, unrelated to this at all, totally unrelated to this. But the discussion of the warehouse got brought up, and they said, we're about to open our Houston warehouse. So I candidly said, well, where exactly is that going to be? And he goes, somewhere, I think, Katy. And I said, no, that's Brookshire. So I was able to correct them in a.
That does not suggest that at some point, they may then realize, oops, and try to come back for incentives. If in fact they have occupied the property, that somewhat negates their ability to get a traditional tax abatement. That does not negate their ability to seek what we call a Chapter 380, which is basically enabling legislation that allows municipalities to do anything they want. Sorry, Counselor, but that's about what it is, in all candor. We have done 380s in the past, not for that reason. A good example of a 380 is Grunfos. We did Grunfos with a 380. We knew we were competing with Indiana on that location. Indiana only has a 10-year limit on tax abatement. I thought if we went out 10, 11, 12, that would demonstrate our desire to accommodate them. And I believe in years 11 and 12, we're like at 15 and 10% respectively in the abatement, which we do that deal all day long. I think most sane people would. But we could, they could come back to us, but as of now, they haven't. We are very hot and continue to be. And I can't say enough about the guys at Stream. And then when I say guys, I mean generically their whole team. They keep us in the loop. We work very collaboratively, and you can see the results. Any questions? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for, letting me talk into a microphone.
Hey, normally I do it.
Alrighty, agenda item number 10 is President's Report. I've pretty much said all I need to on the updates on projects. Agenda item number 11 is executive session. Brookshire Economic Development Corporation will meet in a closed session pursuant to Title V, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for the purpose of economic development discussions under Section 551.087 and consultation with legal counsel, deliberations on personnel under Section 551.074. The time is now 5:51.